Hey everyone, welcome to Build Your Dream Board Virtual Water Cooler. I am beyond thrilled to be here today with, as you can tell, one of my favorite authors. Woohoo! Helen Ellis, and congratulations, day after publication day.
I can't please think of anywhere I'd rather be.
Well, maybe somewhere without a head cold.
Maybe. This is my sexy voice just for you.
Oh my God, I absolutely love it. So, okay, when we last spoke, interview, Penguin Random House
I remember the day because it was broiling hot. It was so hot in the city. I wore one of my mini balloon sleeved summer tops because it was 2019 or 18. Yeah. I remember it very well.
You were wrapping up on this at that time?
I was writing that at the time, probably. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's it like launching a book during this nutty time and writing during this nutty time?
Well, the best thing about launching is that you cannot catch this head cold. And after this, I will do a face plant into the bed. But for this glorious, half hour, I'm going to be on and adorable. So that's the best part of virtual tour. And the best part about writing during the pandemic was I finished this book at the very start of the pandemic. We were all locked down in the city. So I was really able to sort of escape and compartmentalize and think about what I wish I was doing. I wished and appreciated going to a water park, which is basically a toilet for everyone. I appreciated and missed going to casinos and card rooms, which again, a toilet for everyone. And I just thought about my good friends and being with them in all sorts of bizarre scenarios. So it worked for me.
Well, I want to say, it's for someone who loves her friends so much to actually say, you know what, this I can reminisce on and I can cling to all those great happy memories. That's awesome. I can't think of anything better.
I did have some sort of standard Zooms. You really sort of narrow down who you're closest to when you're not allowed to see them. So I had several standard weekly Zooms, one with my writing group, one with the Bridge ladies, one with the grown-ass ladies from the first chapter. And I really tried to do, we also have my book group, my Class of Trashy book group. And I tried to do the puzzle posse because I have a group that comes over and works a jigsaw puzzle. And that just didn't fly during the pandemic because we were all working our own separate puzzles. And it just wasn't as fun because working a puzzle together is sort of like lions on a zebra in the Serengeti.
I love it.
Activity, but it is very loud and competitive. And I do miss that quite a bit.
Competitive puzzling. This is,
I am ready for that. There must be a competition because, you have to work together. Somebody has to flip the pieces. Somebody has to pull the pieces. Somebody has to, compile the pieces.
Why isn't competitive puzzling like a team building exercise? Why is it competitive?
I don't know. We have had, puzzles are time consuming, but when there's 4 of you or 5 of you working one, you can do a 500-piece puzzle in 2 hours. And we once had a game night here at the house, and one of the games was 100-piece unicorn puzzle. And it was who can put it together the fastest in 20 minutes. And only one team was able to do it. You have to really work together.
There we go. For all those people wondering about team building exercises, when you come back to the office, you can create little COVID bubbles of people to work together as a team building exercise and get puzzling. I say do this. Why are you worrying about all these other things? So
it's good because it's sort of like a therapist office because everybody's head is down and picking and putting together, and you just talk very freely as if you're laying on a couch in a shrink's office.
Hey,
Or at least we do.
well, you know what? There we go. Shh. Maybe that's why we don't have puzzling, competitive puzzling, because the shrinks are like have got a lobby against it, so it doesn't happen. This might prevent that. So for anyone who's just starting and to watch this video, which is streaming live on YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter, I'm here with Helen Ellis, best-selling author, who has a new book out as of yesterday. Bring your baggage. Don't pack light. This is, you know, as your books have evolved on the spectrum of revealing things, what did your 80-year-old uncle say when you dropped this one?
So my Uncle Will is one of my favorite readers, and I send him things when they're done because they often have to do with family, and I wanted to give him a little bit of a heads up. And I sent him to Scally, and he wrote me a very nice, proper letter in the mail saying he thought it was, Helen Michelle, I think it's your best book, but boy, you really let it all hang out.
You want to say you do, but it's a conversation that a lot of us really needed. And, you know, I do want to get into a couple of M words that you talk about. And I just want to say good morning hello to Rose, our friend Rose up in Milford, Connecticut. Good morning, Rose.
Good morning,
and
Rose.
see that we had Nicholas. Thank you for joining us. We just,
Wow.
yeah, exactly. And Dominican Republic, thank you for being here and joining us. And if you've got questions for Helen, please put them in the chat, either Periscope, LinkedIn. I'm going to be seeing them here, and I can pull them up. So I do want to talk about, you know, the M word that you address, and I love more women are addressing, which is the M word of menopause.
Yes.
But let's talk about the other really scary M word.
Mama?
Well, maybe for some people. Oh, I thought of you with another interview I listened to, but that we'll get into that another time. But no, let's talk MTA. Let's talk public transportation. You talk about taking the Greyhound bus. You talk about taking public transportation.
Well, I am a real New Yorker now. I've been here over 25 years. And the reason I came to New York, other than to be a writer, you do not have to come to New York to be a writer, was that I did not own a car. And so, you know, I have to drive in New York. And then I married a man who was born in New York, and he doesn't have a car. We both have driver's license because, you know, you get one when you're 17. But we have not driven cars in probably 25 years. We do not drive. And so if we want to go somewhere, Atlantic City, to play poker, we get on the Greyhound bus at the Atlantic and take a bus many, many times a year. And it is an experience we should all have.
Oh, I absolutely love that. I think I, like you, have a driver's license. I rarely drive, and I think I keep getting it renewed so that you have to use my passport.
Yes.
Enter, you know, buildings, you know, for, you know, when we go into buildings and have to show ID, all that kind of stuff. Thank you, Evie. And thank you for endorsing our competitive puzzling. So, thank you, Nancy. Glad all y'all are here, and we are just gonna keep going. So, my MTA, my subway experience was not the one that you've had and in the book, thankfully. My experience in that regard was outside the University of Toronto years ago.
Same experience?
Yes.
A flaccid penis right in your face?
No, not right in my face. It was just sort of over here. And of course, the police, as soon as I said, hey, they're like, yeah, it's Johnny again. Let's go pick him up.
No, that was not the reaction on the 6 train at 7 o'clock at night. The reaction on the 6 train at 7 o'clock at night, when my husband's sitting in one seat, I'm sitting in another, women are all around me, it's completely packed. All you see, if you manage to get a seat on a subway during rush hour, is asses and crotches. You kind of have to pick which you prefer. So you read a book. And I looked up from my book once to, as my husband said, he heard the laughing sound first. And my reaction was I looked up, and I just looked right back down.
Oh, that's
and nobody said a word. Nobody called the police. It was as if, he was just standing there in a top hat.
Right. Is in his own bathroom doing his own thing. I mean, that's right. The reasons to carry a book and read a book on the subway.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, I often, because of the crowdedness back in the day on the subway, you have someone who's like right there in front of your face, launch into conversations. And often enough, it's about their tattoos. That always is a good, people ask me for a good icebreaker question when networking. Listen, ask about a tattoo. Had some interesting stories from when they've gotten them in prison or in
the neck.
Prison, we can talk next to Vietnam, like all this kind of stuff. But you talk tattoos where?
I talk about tattoos in the first piece, which is called Grown Ass Ladies Gone Mild. And it was about me and my childhood friends taking a series of trips that happened to revolve around one friend's breast cancer diagnosis and then her battling that and surviving that. But at the same time, it was me discovering why my other friend had gotten out of a bad marriage. And I found out exactly what had happened to her in that marriage because I noticed a tattoo on her shoulder when the two of us were barefooting around, in our one pieces at a water park in Panama City Beach. And on her shoulder, she has the most delicate, tiny tattoo of 3 M birds. When you used to draw birds as a child, the little M's. Yeah. And one is sort of the width of a nickel, and the other are sort of the width of 2 dimes, and they're just on her shoulder. And I said, when did you get that tattoo? And she said, I got it after the divorce of my first husband because it's me and my 2 children sort of soaring to freedom. And she'd never thought about getting a tattoo. And it opened up so many things that she had kept to herself for far too long. It's a source of power and pride. And just yesterday, she sent me a picture. She's on a beach trip with her darling new husband and family. And she sent me a picture from the beach of 3 little M birds flying over the ocean. And I took it as a very good, omen and blessing for the book.
Oh my God, that is so, what a lovely, wow, just how glorious. And thank you for sharing that, because it's almost like sort of feeling where this story ends here in your book and to sort of this continuation and what happens next?
Yeah.
Please tell me everything's good.
So far, it's happily ever after so far.
Yeah, you know what? Her new fabulous husband better keep it that way or else.
Well, when they married, I flew down, and right after the wedding, I had never met him before because we live in different states. And I took him by the forearms and I looked him straight in the face and I said, take care of my friend. And he has done a wonderful job. And I tell you, when I sent the essay to my friend to get her approval, because if you ever appear in one of my pieces, I always send it to you to say, do you want me to change your name? Do you want to edit anything? Did I get anything wrong? Are you uncomfortable with anything? And she came back, and the only thing that she wanted to change was that her new husband had read the piece and said, well, she forgot to put handsome when describing me. So I immediately put handsome in the description.
No, seriously, I mean, dudes who are associated with Helen's fabulous friends, beware.
That's right.
The woman has a pen and she uses it. We've got some other fabulous friends here. One of my favorites from Penguin Random House. Yes, and all this kind of love this LinkedIn user, you really do need to read my book, Build Your Dream Network. You need to be fixing up that profile. But we're glad you're joining us from Belgium and here and all the rest of it. So you've mentioned poker. How have you been getting your poker fix?
You're looking at it. I've had to do online poker for the first time in my life. I would say the beginning of May, we started playing online with a group of friends. So everybody's code name is something like Labia Minora. Your mom is old. I love plaid. Hot diggity Doug. And there's me, Mrs. Harris. And we play.
I've been probably thinking this is a joke name.
These are not joke names. And we were playing probably 4 nights a week. So much more than I ever played in real life. But it's been another great sort of source of community. So I play online, but I do really miss in live poker, IRL poker, and the World Series is usually this time of year in Vegas, the World Series of Poker. And it's been pushed to October and November, so I have every intention of going out to Vegas to play in October or November. And I cannot wait because, you think about having a cold or when you play poker, it's one of the filthiest experiences, literally, because you're so packed around a table, you're passing chips back and forth, you're passing cards back and forth, and you're passing germs back and forth. So the last time I played in real life was January 2019 in Biloxi, Mississippi. And I remember changing my hotel room because the person next door kept me awake all night with a cough, which was probably coronavirus. And I came back with the last, cold I had before this one.
Oh my!
But it's worth it. It's worth the risk.
Are you gonna create a new poker persona for the post-COVID? I'm thinking if it's also dirty, are you gonna get the 50s housewife with the white gloves and stuff?
I kind of let her go. I always sort of looked like Father Knows Best, who's crawled out of a Ring style horror movie. Like I looked like a 1950s housewife, and that was sort of my look. It was very protective and prim, and I think it intimidated a lot of hoodied, sunglassed young fellows. And I wore pearls at the table always, but I had started to sort of let that go as I had started to let my housewife identity go, because I really was and still am very much a housewife. But when I put out a third book in 5 years, I think, well, I guess I should say writer again. And so everything started to change. My hair grew, my blouses ballooned, and I sort of had this more hippie but not dippy approach at the table. So I think that's what it's going to look like in the fall.
Well, I was just thinking more of two, and I love that. I was reading one of your interviews this morning. I don't know if it was a Pure Wow one or the NPR, in terms of that progression of your poker look. But I was just sort of thinking as a, COVID coverage,
I will tell you that I kind of was hoping to be playing poker with the mask on, because it covers so much of your face and your tails. And, women, especially at the poker table, it's usually just one woman at a table. We're 4% of the field, and that's on a good day. You get a lot of comments, smile, why don't you smile? Things like that. And that was the beauty of the mask here in New York City.
Yep.
And I think at the tables where I kept walking around thinking, oh, I don't have to smile. I got a mammogram last July and I had the mask on. I thought, oh, I'm so glad that I don't have to smile as I have my tits squished between two eyes. Because I'm that type of person who tries to make the person causing me pain feel comfortable.
You know what? I don't know if I'm horrified or relieved to hear the sexism of women being told to smile, being told that at the poker table as well, because that mucks up your poker face if you have to smile. I see another great friend who is here. Hey, TE. So yes, Southern Lady Code does live in New York City. Well, I'm going to say one, and as I reach down here, I'm not disappearing. It's not like that joke. Like, let me go down.
I love it.
In this book, so if people have not read American Housewife, I mean, get ye the trilogy now, folks. I could be on like the Home Shopping Network, like buy now, buy now.
Do I have to interrupt just to say one thing?
Yeah.
You think about dream jobs, and I would have loved to be a Home Shopping Network salesperson. And I remember reading about the woman who was so big on QVC, and I forget her name, but she had to take a test when they were just starting QVC. And the question was, sell me this pencil. And she began to say, well, you can dial the phone with it, so you don't mess up your nails. You write a note, you scratch your back. And I thought, that's so smart. I want to do that.
I love it. Well, I was just going to say for T, I didn't know you lived in New York. Your story in here about knocking off the doorman.
All the doormen have read that story, and let's just say the packages arrived very promptly at my house.
There's no, mucking around on all this. All right, let's talk about that other elephant in the room, your most personal story.
Are you there, Menopause? It's me, Helen. It's true. I feel myself asking that as I sit here, having a hot flash. My man.
I'm going to say being on the other, like being through the peri and the whatever, and now menopause.
Right. You make it look good. Yes.
But the things they don't tell you, right? They're like, oh, the hot flashes. Oh, didn't even mention the muscle pain? No one talks about that.
Nobody talks about the crazy PMS. That mine has ramped up like you wouldn't believe. And I talk about like 5 years ago, I said to my friend Ann, oh my gosh, my PMS is just so much longer. And it surprises me. And she says, oh yes, once a month, I feel like murdering my husband. And I thought, oh, that makes me feel so much better. And then she said, there's an app for that. So I now have an app, Clue, like Get a Clue, which it really is for fertility, but I use it to track my PMS. And if I ever feel sort of overly sensitive, I look at it and there's like little dark clouds around the date, and it says, you're in PMS, lady, relax.
Don't murder your fabulous husband. Don't murder Poochie. Don't
murder Poochie. And my husband has found the perfect way to deal with it. I will isolate, like I'll just work a puzzle with my headphones on, and he will do the best thing you can do for a lady with PMS, her laundry.
Men, take note.
Take note.
Screw the flowers.
We're going to do our laundry.
Oh my God. That is like, yeah. Was it hard? Was it hard to be so revealing and write that piece on menopause? Like something like the fact that we're actually having this conversation, but to write about it, was it hard?
It was sometimes, I always come up with the title before the piece. And that is what I kept saying to myself. Are you there, Menopause? It's me, Helen. Like Margaret used to say, are you there, God? It's me, Margaret, which was such a Bible and how-to and friend to me, and I'm sure to you, when we were 11 years old and expecting our periods. And I wanted something for me and something for women my age, that was sort of a similar comfort that Margaret was to me. I must have read that book 100 times, and I reread it last year, and that thing really holds up because I sort of modeled the story around it. But it was hard, but it was also very freeing. And a lot of women, were very forthcoming with their experiences. And So it was embarrassing and hard, but freeing. I'm glad I did it.
Oh, I am so glad you did it. I'm like so glad we get to have these conversations. I'm also laughing because yes, I remember getting the Judy Blume books, and I remember in particular it was when Forever came out. I was in the 7th grade, and that was
Banned.
Totally bad. But
Banned.
my deal was my mother, basically raising 3 children on her own. My parents divorced when I was young, and she was back at school. And so she had there was a this white bookshelf where she had all her books. And she basically would say to me, you can read anything,
Yes.
just put it back where it was. And so she was back at UVic doing a degree. So there was a lot. So here I am, probably 11, 12 years old. So I'm reading Margaret Atwood, right?
Oh.
All right. So I'm reading The Edible Woman. I'm reading this, right? So, and then my mother, and I'm Alice Munro, like I'm reading all of these.
Your mother had very good taste.
Well, I think those were her school books.
Oh.
Right? But she also, so that's also why your trashy, classy book club, I'm like, oh yeah, by the time I got to Forever, I'd already read all of the Judith Krantz. Like I had read like Scruples. I had read all of those things. So when I finally got to Forever, I'm like, really? That's it?
I know. You unhook your bra strap and put down a towel?
Exactly. Like,
Ralph?
yeah, my friends not being able to get the book. My mother was like, oh, here, you want this book? And I remember reading it going, okay.
No. I remember reading it in the 4th grade. It would have been banned. Somebody had gotten a copy, and it was passed around Mrs. Sanders' 4th grade class under the desk, and sections were highlighted. It was Angel Rayburn who had gotten it. I remember that name. And Margaret was also banned, and my mother, I don't know where she went to get it. There was no Amazon or mail to order, and she drove somewhere and brought it home in a brown paper bag for me, like a bottle of liquor. And I just sent it to my niece with my sister's permission, she's 11. And I'm like, can I send her, sort of write a passage? Are you there? God, it's me, Margaret. But yeah, the Classic Trashy Book Club, again, so many books in Alabama I couldn't get my hands on. But I have memory of my grandmother always had a library book, Sidney Sheldon, Judith Krantz, Jackie Collins, by her chair with TV tray. And on the TV tray was always a library book. And the TV tray had nail polish all over it because she would do her nails and run it off, so as to make the perfect, manicure. So I would say almost 10 years ago, a group of us started a Classic Trashy Book Club so we could read all the books that we had read or hadn't been allowed to read when we were in high school. And it's so fantastic. I mean, to read Jackie Collins now, there's a great documentary out on her, to read Judith Krantz now, and all these women have something in common, and they all started to write in their 50s. Judith Krantz was 50 when she published Scruples. And Jacqueline Suzanne, 40s when she published Valley of the Dolls, and all these books have something in common, which is middle-aged women sort of taking a second chance and running with it and reclaiming their sex life or reclaiming a career. And it's just great to read. And there is no sensitivity in these books.
I know. Exactly. I absolutely love that. And I'm like, I'm going to scour some shelves and start reading those books again.
Yes.
So all of that kind of stuff. Here's a really good question. Your books are available on ebook, are they not?
They are, and they're available on audiobook, which I read, and I sound better than this. But yes, they're available any form you want.
There we go. So Audible, ebook. I'm going to say if you go look up Helen Ellis, author, on Penguin Random House, or you look up Bring Your Baggage and Don't Pack Light. If you go to Penguin Random House and you find it, it'll also give you all the locations where you can buy it.
In your public library, there's a great app called Overdrive, which I use, and you can check out ebooks and audiobooks from any library.
Oh, how good. That's
Overdrive.
Oh, there we go for public library fans.
Yeah.
Is fantastic. And I always love bookshop.org if you want to support a local bookstore and you don't know which one's in your neighborhood.
And Libro FM, which is the independent bookstore's audiobook channel.
There we go. So, and I love that you read your book. Oh my God.
I love doing it.
How delicious is that? Yes, I agree, Rose. How many women, so many women, you know, I think there is this element of like, God damn it, we've gone through all of this other stuff and now we can, you know, what else can life throw at us after menopause? Like, screw it, you can handle anything after you've made that transition. So, you know.
I'm a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Rising from
That'd be a good tattoo.
There we go. Or maybe it's just creating enough heat for a phoenix to rise.
Yes.
Maybe all of that kind of stuff. So, well, no, that's, you know what? That's why I don't have my hardcover. When I see you, I'll have my hardcover for you to copy because, as you know, I am your super fan. But right now, this advanced copy makes
works.
Absolutely, you know, absolutely works as a fan. This has been a joy. Thank you for, you know, sharing all of this. For those who, like me, can't get enough of Helen Ellis, you've got a lot of book events coming up, and I've got one with you and Shakespeare & Co. and the Women's Media Group on August 4th. My memory is not foggy for menopause, that would be the date. And we will have more conversations. We'll dive into this book. We'll dive into your writing career, that 15-year gap between books, which I always think is, you know, something to talk about, and so much more. So here's to another New York Times bestseller, lady. Love you, love your writing, love the humor and strength that you bring, and truly the empowerment for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So everybody, that's it. I'm gonna, you know, figure out a way that I, you know, can sign off without Helen and I doing grimacing faces for too long. And we'll see you all soon. And if you love this interview, share it. And if you love Helen, go and buy her book. There we have it.